Hey YouTube, it's me again. First of all, I have been loving this makeup look right now. I've been using the Laura Mercier Artist Palette, and I've done this look for like something like 3 or 4 days out of this week. It's crazy. So I'm hoping to be able to film a tutorial for this at some point. Let me know if you guys are interested in that. Go ahead and thumbs up the video, and I will go ahead and do that. It's pretty easy. It does take some time because a lot of the work is very precise, but other than that, it's pretty simple, and it only uses one eyeshadow palette and drugstore foundation, which is pretty cool. So, what I wanted to talk about today is actually a video I was requested to do by a lovely gentleman named Justin. Hey, shout out to you. Great suggestion for a video, and you have the same name as my husband, so you must automatically be awesome. Anyway, he asked me about what kind of reactions I've been getting from people in Japan to me being bald. Because, you know, obviously you don't see very many bald people in general in Japan, much less bald women. Usually baldness just kind of happens naturally. You know, if a Japanese man has male pattern baldness, that's the only reason they would really be bald. You would never actually see someone who willingly shaved their head, or at least I have yet to see anyone. So he asked me about the reactions I've been getting from people, and while I've only been off base a handful of times, I can tell you that I've had a couple of different reactions stand out. On the whole, most people don't even really bring it up. It's just kind of a thing that's there, and they see it, obviously, but they don't really ask me about it or acknowledge it in any way, shape, or form. They're just like, oh, hey, you know, she has no hair, or whatever, which is good. I mean, the Japanese are generally a very respectful people and a very accepting people, so they don't normally, like, they're very much live and let live kind of people. You know, they're like, oh, hey, you want to shave your head? Good for you. Cool. We're not going to judge you. But they haven't really confronted me at all. I haven't faced any hostility for being bald or any criticism, which is kind of awesome. But two stories stand out to me from experiences I've had on base that have really opened my eyes and, you know, charmed me and interested me. One of them was from a Japanese national, and the other one was from an American who was working in Japan. So I'll start with the American perspective, and then I'll move to the other story. So this guy is a cashier at the BX, which is like a store on base, and we've run into him a couple of different times now shopping for essentials there, because obviously, you know, we shipped some stuff that we ended up needing, or we had to throw out some stuff that we ended up needing, that sort of thing. So we were going shopping, or I was going shopping rather. And this was after I just cut my hair. I got myself a hair clipper, or a set of hair clippers, and finally cut my hair again. It feels so good. But I had just cut it, and the gentleman said, may I ask what happened to your hair? And I said, oh, I shaved it all off. Very matter-of-factly, you know. And he was like, may I ask why? And I was like, of course. You know, I shaved it originally for ovarian cancer research, and I just kind of liked how it looked, so I kept it that way. And he was like, ovarian cancer? Like, he'd never heard of it before. And I was like, yeah, it's cancer of the ovaries. Like, you know, the things that store the eggs and stuff in girls. I mean, I know this guy is young. He is younger than me. But I wouldn't have put him a day over 19. So the kid knows what ovaries are. And he just sounded so confused. And I explained it to him, and he was like, oh, I didn't think you could get cancer there. I didn't know that cancer existed. I was like, well, yeah, you know, name a body part, chances are you can get cancer in it. So, I mean, it wasn't really judgmental or anything. You know, he thought it looked good. It was just a confusion, like, more than anything. He was just curious, which is fine. But the next story is really, really awesome. We were at this flea market that they offer on base in Japan. And, it's a bunch of Japanese nationals who sell traditional furniture and little knickknacks and odds and ends and things, chopsticks, ramen bowls, awesome stuff. There's some really great stuff there. And this woman was running a booth that sold traditional kimonos and yukatas. Now, yukatas are like the male version of a kimono, for those of you who don't know. And the kimonos are the beautiful Japanese robes that women wore traditionally. And she saw me walking by, and I usually wear my Killin' It beanie a lot when I go out because it's a little bit chilly. It's not like chilly enough to warrant a parka or anything, but it's cold enough that, my head can get cold sometimes. But on that particular day, it was really, really nice out, so I took my hat off. And I think that's part of the reason why I hadn't really gotten many reactions so far, is because I've been covering it up with the hat. But I took it off so the world could see my baldness, and she walks out from her booth and actually pulls me aside, like gets my attention. And I was like, oh, hey, hello. And she said, are you into fashion? Are you very fashionable? And you could tell that, she was trying her best to speak as much English as she knew. Of course, she's not, her English wasn't perfect, but it was certainly, understandable. And I was like, oh yeah, I do this and that and the other thing. And I had this makeup look on as well. And she said that she, years and years and years ago, had met a fashion model in Paris who was also bald, who had also shaved her head willingly. And we carried on this conversation for a little while, and she asked me if I'd ever modeled before, and I said, well, once or twice, not that many times, but I have before. And she said, well, originally, over in Yokosuka, which is a naval base, they had asked me to do a fashion show there with, showcasing my kimonos, and we couldn't do it last year because I'd gotten into an accident and I was sick for a little while, but, they might want to do it again next year, and I was wondering if you would be interested in contributing as a model. And I was like, oh my god, that's crazy! Absolutely. So we exchanged phone numbers and information, and we just kept talking, and she was so, so lovely. And I think it's really kind of wonderful to hear that from a native Japanese person, for them to view bald people not as skinheads, not as racists, not as, sick or demented, or, that there's something wrong with them, but to see them as fashionable and to see them as, on the cutting edge. And it really made me feel quite beautiful to be told that by someone. And so I thought I'd share with you guys the little dichotomy there between, the American perspective on a bald person and the Japanese perspective on a bald person, a woman in particular. And I just thought that was really, really interesting. Great suggestion for a video. And as I get more reactions, if I run into any more fun stories like that, I'll be sure to share them with you guys. So now it's your turn, YouTube. Have you ever had something happen to you that just made you feel gorgeous or flattered or embarrassed? I know I was blushing like a damn fool when this woman was talking to me. So go ahead and leave your stories in the box below in my pants. Oh yeah. And I promise I will read all of them. In the meantime, I'm gonna go figure out what I'm gonna do today, because Justin's doing worky type stuff and I'm just kind of here. I might go for a walk because I feel pretty. And I hope you guys feel pretty too. And I will see you in a few days.